Hi. All right, let's talk August astrology and aromatherapy. I'm Sheridan Semple, if you don't know me, and let's get started. Okay, so August is bookended by full moons, right? Venus ends and starts a new 19-month cycle of the goddess, Venus the goddess, who represents the divine feminine in our world. We have the cross-quarter celebration of Lammas. Mars changes signs. Mercury goes retrograde on the same day that the sun enters Virgo. So there's a lot going on in August. So August sky viewing, Venus shifts from the evening sky, right? So you've been out at night, you can see Venus after the sun sets. She's gone for me now already. And she she passes between us and the sun. She's retrograde. And then she'll rise into the morning sky towards the end of this month, right? So she'll rise ahead of the sunrise. So how cool is that, right? So let's start with August 1st, the Aquarius full moon. It's a super moon and it's Lammas, right? The cross-quarter celebration. So the moon is closer to the earth, so there's a stronger pull and drive on the waters of our bodies, right? So an Aquarius is that sign that like sees the big picture. So we want to be focusing, I like to focus on celebrating at the full moon rather than like releasing or another doing thing, but just celebrating something about ourselves. So we're on that Leo Aquarius axis. So it's a perfect time to celebrate something you love about yourself, especially with all of this Venus Leo stuff going on. Okay, pine cone essences like white pine cone are amazing for Aquarius. So they help the pine cone looks like the pineal gland. So it's amazing for like the crown chakra and the place that we like leave our body and go to that cosmic consciousness that is Aquarius. Major Venus vibes from like August 12th to 19th. So just looking at all my notes I wrote here, you can read all of this and all the dates on my website as well at sheridansimple.com. I've got it all written out along next to this video. So Venus meets exactly with the sun on August 13th. So she's exactly between us and the sun on the 13th. So that's that time of many people will start the new Venus cycle there. We at Venus Alchemy, we like to start it when you can first visibly see it, as opposed to it being when she's in the underworld and we can't see her, right? So when she's hidden in the light of the sun, she's considered to be in the underworld. And because this one happens so quickly, we call it the metamorphic underworld, where there's all this twist and change and transformation. So Venus is retrograde, and a lot of people will say when a planet's retrograde that it's diminished, but this is when Venus is the brightest and closest to us. So she's in like her full power. So I think Venus retrograde is an amazing time to empower and tune into our divine feminine expressions. We're all trying to help bring that energy back online. Venus retrograde is she's finishing one cycle, going into this metamorphic underworld, starting a new cycle. This is like big power time. This is a huge time. So it's a time to really set our intentions for this next 19-month cycle. You could think of this as when Venus and the sun meet, it's like the new moon, where you set an intention for the month. But this is for the new Venus cycle, which is 19 months. So what are things that you would like to set an intention around for the next year and a half for yourself around that feminine expression, right? No matter how we identify, we all have that feminine and masculine sides of ourselves. This is about that feminine side, right? That goddess. Like, what do you want to be, do, step into within that 18-month, 19-month period, year and a half. I was just saying year and a half because it's a little easier to think about in our minds. So this cycle is starting in Leo, right? So Venus has gone retrograde in Leo. She meets with the sun in Leo, starts the new cycle in Leo. So it's Leo, which is all about tuning into our inner goddess, our divine connection to the goddess, to the divine, what's sacred, right? Our creativity, being the creator incarnate in this body, right? Tuning into more of our creativity, our artistic sides, whatever that looks like, as well as really embracing, encouraging, and bringing more online self-love, right? That's such a huge part of Leo's learning and teaching for us, is if we are the divine, then we're filled with that unconditional love that can just overflow and give others permission to do that as well. So when Venus meets with the sun in this metamorphic, high transformation time, that's a great time to set intentions of what you want out of this Venus cycle that's starting, right? So then on then the moon meets with Venus and the sun right after that. So we have the Leo new moon, right? So it's just supercharged, lots going on. And then yeah, let's see. Oh, I want to talk about Lang Lang and vetiver for this metamorphic underworld Leo cycle time. So vetiver is always an amazing essence to help us with the underworld things, right? Really helps us to settle, calm our nervous system. She comes from a root that's like purifies and clears the waters, right? Which is that underworld kind of time. So vetiver is amazing. It's like this gentle guide that like helps and nurtures us through the underworld. And then Lang Lang is amazing for Leo, for this whole Leo cycle. Lang Lang heals our hearts, opens our hearts, drops us into our hearts, and helps us to cultivate more self-love and a more open-hearted existence and place to live from. So Lang Lang will be something I will be using a lot throughout this whole 19-month cycle. You could bring Lang Lang and vetiver into your ceremony, your intention setting ceremony with the new moon and the new Leo Venus cycle starting, right? All of these things. So it's an amazing time to do ceremony and set intentions, right? Whatever that looks like for you. Doesn't have to be super elaborate, or it can be super elaborate, but just something where you take some time and say, this is what I'm intending. This is what I want to co-create with all of this energy available to me. If you're in the local Aspen, Carbondale, Colorado area, you can join me for my new moon ceremony at True Nature Healing Arts down in Carbondale on Thursday, August 16th at 6 o'clock. All right, you can go to True Nature or my website to look for that. And then finally, we're still in this major Venus vibe. Venus rises into the morning sky. So we say, just using kind of like a general kind of average, when she gets 10 degrees from the sun, that she rises into the morning sky. But this will be really personal for each of us, like where we are on the planet and what our horizon line is, right? I live in Aspen, Colorado, so I have a very mountainous horizon line. So Venus has already disappeared for me now, where some of you can probably still see her. And then she will rise for some of you, maybe earlier than the 16th. For me, probably later than the 16th, because again, of my high horizon line. So this is a personal thing. So we just use kind of a general time, but really the cycle starts when you first see Venus rise into the morning sky where you are. And I love that that's like so personal for each of us, right? But all around these days is when this will be occurring. And again, I'll just beat that Lang Lang to use for this. Geranium is another amazing essence, like so associated with the feminine, so associated with Venus. That's one that you could use as well. And she's really about love as well. Mercury goes retrograde. The sun enters Virgo on August 23rd. So here we are, right? And again, right, we talk about like Mercury retrogrades. It's such a bad rap, right? Everyone's like, oh my God, Mercury retrograde, all these bad things will happen. But that's not the case. I don't subscribe to that at all. Mercury retrograde is just this time when Mercury moves back through the sky to the part of the sky that it just came through. And so for me, it's like this time, it's like a break of like doing, going, linear, right? And just let things be more of that cyclical place, cycle focus place. I can't think of the word. And we move more like right brain, right? Where we get a break, right? I've been recently read this book called Rest is Resistance by Trisha Hersey. And I'm like, oh, this is Mercury retrograde, right? Rest as a revolution, right? A time to like step out of the rat race and let things move. So again, I think it goes really well with this Venus cycle starting because in Leo, because Mercury retrograde can be an amazing time to tap into our creativity and just focus and be there for a while. The sun enters Virgo, which is the priestess, druid type of energy, that sacred servant of the earth that helps us tune into the sacred, helps us with the ceremony, know that it's the time of Lammas, which I forgot to say is like that time of harvest and appreciation and gratitude for the abundance that we have. Lavender is an amazing essence for Virgo, right? Just really helps us drop into seeing and connecting into the sacred patterns. And then finally, we finish August. I mean, there's so much we could talk about, so I'm just hitting some of the highlights, but we finish August on August 30th with the Pisces full moon, another super moon. So again, pulling on those Pisces waters. So time to celebrate healing, celebrate our empathy, compassion, safe space, holding space, right? Let that be a time when we can celebrate how much healing we've done in our lives, right? So yarrow, local in Colorado wildflower, it's this white flower, but it makes this dark blue essential oil. It's so cool. And yarrow really helps us to be with like the sorrows and the healing of within our hearts. And I think that's a beautiful essence for Pisces. So blessings on your journey through August, and thanks for watching.